Hey guys, Seaweed from Tribal Soup Project here. Welcome to another episode of SIMsational. You're watching the Ultimate Builder's Guide, and today we have chapter 9, which is going to be all about pools. And we're going to do kind of an in-depth coverage of the pool tools and how they work. Then I'm going to show you guys the different types of pools that you can create because there are more than one type of pools that you can create in The Sims 4. And then, of course, we're going to put our house that we've been building together throughout the course of the guide back into this lot and add a pool onto that. So, we're going to get started with how these pool tools work. So our pool tools are located right over here next to the little house. And the first thing that's displayed to us when we click on it are all the different ways of which we can add a pool into the lot. So it should be first noted that you can put a pool pretty much anywhere you want in the lot. You could put a pool directly into the ground. You could put a pool in the basement. You could put a pool on the inside of your house. You could put a pool on the inside of your house on the second, third, fourth story. You could even put a pool on the roof as long as you don't have like a regular roof like one of these. Like if you had, instead of one of these roofs, if you had put like a fence around the perimeter of the house and you're going to have like this big sun deck on your roof, then you could put a pool there as well. The only place that you cannot put a pool is where it intersects and goes underneath of a wall. And what I mean by that is, let's say we have this house like this. We cannot put a pool that goes from the outside to the inside. We can put a pool that backs directly up against the wall like so. But once we have done that, we cannot put a pool on the inside of the wall where it intersects with the wall that has a pool right on the outside. Though we can have the pool back right up against the wall on the interior like so. We just can't make the pool intersect with the wall because whenever you have a connecting pool like this, when you add on to the pool, it just directly adds onto it. And because you can't intersect the wall, we can't draw a pool on the outside of this wall and then draw on the inside of here like that. It doesn't work like that. So let's go ahead and get rid of these things here. And we will talk about these pool tools. So the first method that we have available to us to create a pool is basically just the draw box, where you can draw a box like so. And like I had just said, if you want to, let's say you want to add another box onto this, you want the pool to be slightly more narrow, just right here. Then you can simply add onto it like that, and it carries over as it's all just one pool. Once you have your pool placed, you can click on the pool and then edit the size of it. We can make this pool a lot smaller and a lot more narrow so that it's only got this little corner right here. We also can raise the foundation right here to have an above ground pool. We can also move the pool once we have it selected. We can also, but it should be noted, as you just saw, if we have a raised foundation pool and then we go to move it, when we place it, the foundation is no longer going to be raised. It's going to go right back into the ground, and you're going to have to raise the foundation again if you want to raise it. You can also, from this menu, copy the pool. And just like moving the pool, it is not going to copy the height of the foundation. You are going to go ahead and have to raise the foundation height. But let's say you want to have like 2 above ground pools and you want them to be the exact same height as each other. When you raise the foundation of the second pool, you can tell that it's the same exact height. But if you see here, as I'm raising the foundation, when it gets to the same height as the other pool, we've got that highlighted white square around our first pool. That lets us know that these 2 pools are the same exact height and we can connect them like so. So the other method that we have available to us is and oh, real quick, just so you know, when you create a pool that goes into the ground like so, the bottom of the pool is going to, of course, be in the basement. So then let's say you wanted to have a basement room down here, right where the corner of this is, you can draw a room right here, but that is going to take that section of the pool way above here like so. So the next method that we have of creating a pool is the custom pool tool. And this works very similarly to how the freehand drawing tool works, at least the click and drag method one, where we would simply click and then drag and then click and then drag. It allows us to create a custom shaped pool that is actually really useful. Like if we wanted to create the appearance of a stream, then this would be a really useful pool tool to use because we can simply create a really odd shaped pool. And like you just saw, all you have to do to create shapes is just click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. And then when you meet at the end, you'll see how it highlights in green. That's how your pool is going to look when you click like so. It makes it really useful to add stuff on. Let's say I wanted to add on like let's make this just a little bit bigger. Let's make it a little bit bigger like this here. Let's just pull this out just so that we can see it just a little bit better. So let's say I just wanted to create like a little added shape here. It's very common for a pool to come out like this. And then I would click here. And then you're going to have to, when you add on to a pool in this fashion, you're going to have to draw back over that section of the pool as well. It won't allow you to just add on like this and then stop. You have to draw back over the rest of the pool like so. So the next way that we have available to us to create a pool are the different shapes. And these work the same exact way as the room tools worked, where we simply grab our shape and then we drop it. We can drop it on here. We can pull it out like this. I could go ahead and take this one and add it on to this as well. Just like so. It works very similarly to how the different room tools work. And delete you. So we're going to move down the menu, and before we do that, we're going to go ahead and draw just a basic square pool so that we can see the different menu options available to us. So we have the next, down below the pool tools, we have our pool trims, and this is just kind of like a little finishing thing, and they have all the different color swatches. When you click on them and you click on this little menu here, you can change the different color swatches. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones. That one that came with Jungle Adventure. We've got the marble pool trims. And then we have more of the natural looking pool trims. And these two are actually exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the size. We have it, kind of narrow and thin. And then we have it a lot thicker like that. So the next thing down the menu available to us is to change the color of water. We've got our brackish, our hot spring, then we have the ordinary chlorinated, and that is the color of pool when you first lay your pool down. That's going to be the ordinary pool water color. We've got our fresh water. We've got our murky murk that looks all icky and sewage-like. We've got our romantic pool with the rose petals. We've got this really cool dreaming of water purple color that I usually like to use if I'm going to have a pool at a nightclub. And then we have my all-time favorite pool water, which is the swimming and sparkles, because it's all bright and kind of sparkly when you look at it. So going down the menu from that, we have our different water objects. And these objects are going to dramatically change the way your pool looks. And in some instances, it's even going to make your pool more animated when you're in play mode. So you've got your different, now these trims here will go along the bottom of your pool. It just creates a little added decoration like so. And I'm simply going to, when you add these on, you grab one, and when you click, it's only going to place that one. But let's go ahead and do a darker one so we can see it just a little bit better. So if you want to continue placing it all along the edge of the pool, you simply want to hold down Shift on your keyboard to continue placing that, and it'll place it all the way down. And then once we get to the corner, maybe I should have drawn a smaller pool. So once we get to the corner, we can go ahead with one of these corner ones and just add the corner in like so, just like that. And then we can continue on down. Then we have these little guides. And what these guides are really good for is if you're going to have like an Olympic style pool, that where if you look at the Olympic pools, it has the different lines so that when the swimmers are racing, they stay in their lane. Then we have our different pool lights. We've got pool lights that come here. We got pool lights that go at the bottom. We've got different drainage grates that we can place in. We've also got these really cool bubbles and steam grates. And if we were in play mode, then we would have either bubbles or steam kind of coming up from the bottom of the pool. This is where we'll find the other icons. We've got this really cool lotus illumination, and that actually lights up and makes the pool a bit brighter. We've got our turtles that'll go along the bottom. We've got our different lights that we can place along the inside of the pool like this if we'd rather have it like this. And these are also cool to put if we have the Olympic style pool, then we can put these lights right here like that. And because it's a light, you don't have to hold down Shift to continue placing it. It'll automatically have the next one ready for you to grab. And that's another thing that'll kind of, I guess, give the appearance of helping a swimmer, though we don't have the ability to actually race in the pool in The Sims, and that would be a really cool feature. So if you're a creator and you're watching this, then you should make it so that our Sims can race in the pool. That would be awesome. Then we will also find our different pool ladders like so. We've got these regular pool ladders, and again, you can change the color swatch over here. We've got these more natural rock ladders like so. And the only thing I don't like about these natural rock ladders are I don't like this chain that is just kind of hanging down. I don't mind how this kind of looks the rust is like kind of messed up, but I don't really like these chains because it just, I don't know, I don't like it. So I wish those weren't there. And then of course we have these open water docking ladders, but these are only going to be, first of all, available to you if you have island living. And these can only be put in a deck that comes out into the open water or the ocean. And these will actually allow your sim to dive into the water and, do a swan dive or, a cannonball, whatever. This one says it's an open water docking point and ladder, but you can't actually tie one of the sailboats to it. So that was a little bit disappointing that I couldn't, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, we can tie our sailboat to it. No, the sailboat doesn't get tied to it. It's just like a little added decoration, which I guess that's kind of cool too. At least we have that. We've got more pool lights here and more decorations we can put down here, which this one's a really cool one. And it should also be noted that these different decorations can also be put on dry land or inside like a kitchen or the bathroom or like a foyer. If you wanted to have like a cool dramatic thing on the ground, we can put those there as well. We've got our different floaties that'll go upon the surface. We've got that floaty and that floaty and that floaty. And then the other things that can go into the surface, we've got some lily pads and we've got some algae. We've got some water reeds, and these really help to make like a very natural look. And then as an addition to that, if you come over here to the fountains, then you can, and then under when you click on the fountains, then you come down here to the bottom of this menu, we've got different fountain decorations. And this is where we will find other lily pads. We've got these smaller lily pads and these other lily pads with the flowers. We can also change the way a pool looks by adding wall patterns or floor patterns. Like if you wanted to have a real upscale looking pool, then you could add one of these mosaic patterns to the wall, and then you can also add the mosaic patterns to the floor as well. So it really kind of makes like a little nice addition. It changes the whole look of it and changes the whole feel of that lot. Another really cool thing that we can do as well with these pools is we can actually delete sections of a pool that's already drawn so that we can either have like a little island in the center, or let's say you have some kind of like tiki bar venue and you wanted to have your tiki bar like over here, and this would be where the venue starts, and you wanted to like have a pool and you wanted a boardwalk to go across the pool into the tiki. You can do that as well. And the way that you delete sections of a pool that's already drawn is by using this custom pool tool. And what you'll do is when you've grabbed this custom pool tool, you're simply going to hold down Control on your keyboard. And as you can see, when I hold down Control on my keyboard, I get that little X at the top of the pool tool. That simply means that anywhere that I draw or anywhere that I close in, it's going to delete that section of the pool. So let's say I wanted to have like a little boardwalk path that goes across the pool. I'm simply going to hold down Control on my keyboard, and I'm just going to make like a little path like this, something that kind of looks like that. That's good enough for our purposes. And then again, you have to complete the drawing by drawing over the side of the pool where you don't want it to be. Oops, like that. To make like a little path, then I can come over here and put like a little wooden boardwalk that goes along this. Like that, just kind of changing the way it looks, like so. And it's all like boardwalky and cool. I could put like a little, let's say I wanted to have like a little island with maybe some palm trees and some plants, or maybe I even wanted to put a little fountain. I could do that in the same exact way by just coming over here with a custom pool tool and drawing it out. I, of course, would, take a little bit more time and make it actually make like a good looking shape and not something that looks so off like that. But you get the idea of what we're trying to do. So those are how the different pool tools work, and the different things that you can create with the pool tools. So now we are going to go over the different types of pools that we can create in The Sims 4. So the first type of pool that we can create is just your simple run-of-the-mill pool. Basically, it's the type of pool that where I was showing you how the pool tools work. It's that kind of pool where you could simply just put a pool into the ground next to your house, like so. You can, if you have a raised foundation as well, you can have your pool in the foundation like that also. So the first type is just your regular run-of-the-mill ordinary pool. The next type of pool that we can build in The Sims 4 is a natural pool. And that would be a pool that kind of looks like a lake or a pond. But in order for you to do this, you are going to have to use one of the building cheats. And the cheat that we need to use in order to make this happen is the Move Objects cheat. So you first want to open up your cheat box by pressing and holding Control Shift and the letter C on the keyboard, and the cheat box opens up here in the top left hand corner. And the cheat to turn on the Move Objects cheat is the code to turn on the cheat is bb.moveObjects. And then you hit enter and your Move Objects cheat is on. And what this is going to enable you to do, it is going to allow you to overlap objects like so, which is something that we need to be able to do to create a natural pool. So when you create a natural pool, it obviously is not going to be a square because things in nature do not work like that. But what I usually do when I create a natural pool is I will first draw a square like so, and then I come over here with my octagons, and I just add in octagons like this, and then I kind of pull them out like so. And you could just like add them wherever you want like that. And it creates a more natural look. That, of course, doesn't look very natural. That's better. And I would just continue placing it all along the pool like so until I have the shape that I want. And this shape, it does not have to be perfect. As you can see, looking at it right now, it looks like a really odd shape. And things in nature don't look like that either. But what we're going to do is going to cover up any of the odd or awkward types of places, like this little triangle right here. That looks extremely awkward, but it's okay to have it in this because we're going to cover it up and we're not going to see it. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to change the way that the pool looks, okay? So this is your regular, ordinary, chlorinated pool water. So we really want to change it to something different. Now, I like to use the swimming with sparkles, and even though this is really a color that we only see like in an ocean in like the Caribbean or something, I like to use this because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the wall pattern and the floor pattern, and that's also going to kind of change the color of the water. But this is the water I always like to use. I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose the stone wall, and then I'm going to come over here to the floor patterns, and I am going to choose these rustic pavers. And already it looks a lot more natural. So the second thing that we need to do is we need to change the edging on the outside because, well, I mean, that's not natural either. So I usually will use this thin rocky pattern, and depending upon where I put this pool, I usually use this one here. So now that I've got my pool and water is looking a lot more natural, I'm ready to come in here with my different landscaping objects. And depending upon if like I have like a little country home or something, or if I have more of like a hot springs looking like kind of in a desert area, I might choose to put some of these little trees here. I might choose to have one big tree. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it like a little country looking lake. And I'm going to come over here with the willow tree. So I'm going to add my willow tree. I think this is probably a good place for it. So I've got my willow tree here, and now I'm ready to go ahead and start placing my other landscaping plants. So I first choose these different grassy plants. And when you place plants, it's only going to allow you to place one at a time, where you would place it and then you would have to come over and grab another. But if you hold down Shift on your keyboard, then it will have the next one ready to grab for you. And you can place all of these like all together like this, but I don't do that. I usually place them at different points along the pool like this because I'm going to come in here with other plants to fill in my gaps. You do want to pick a space of where your Sims are going to actually get into the lake. And I think I'm actually going to have that like this section right here is where my Sims are going to get in. Maybe I'll have them get in here and I'll have them get in right here. So I'm going to move that over a little bit. And then I am just going to choose a bunch of other plants to kind of put around it. And then I'll probably add some like water lilies and maybe some algae and water reeds to the top of the water. And it's going to create a very natural looking pool. So the last thing that we need to do to create a completed natural look is to change the color of the terrain that surrounds the water and goes underneath the plants. I think this is one of the little details that add so much more. Something so little like simply changing the color of the terrain underneath these plants really adds a lot to the natural look of how it looks because, of course, there's not going to be next to the water. The earth next to the water is not going to be completely green like this. You might have patches of grass where you could use like this scratchy patches terrain to paint. But you really want to have a more completed look, and changing the color of the terrain underneath the plants and around the water is really going to give it that extra needed oomph to create a very natural look. And there are sections where you might want to look at it from this angle, but it also might help to kind of, if you select this button right over here, if you have a lot of people use when they rotate their camera, they hold down their mouse wheel. I like to actually use this camera control here. And if you hit this camera control here, when you are in build mode, you can view from the top down like this. And this is going to help you out in places where you add your terrain paint underneath these plants. So I'm going to add that terrain paint, and we're going to end up with something that looks so much more natural than what we began with. So the next type of pool that we can create in The Sims is what I like to call the Fishbowl Pool, but it's really an above ground pool. And this is a pool that your Sim is actually going to get into from the second story of your house. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a simple makeshift box house down like this. Then we're going to come up and we're going to put a second story on it. And then we're going to add on to this part of the first story like it's like a little deck. So what we want to do is we want to add a pool that comes out from this deck. So all we're going to do is we are simply going to come over to the pool tools right here. And I am going to, off of this deck, I am going to just draw my square pool like so, and voila, we have an above ground pool. And then to actually give it that cool fishbowl appearance, what we can do is we can come in with these windows, right? Not those ones, anyone but those ones. Well, not anyone but those ones, these ones actually. What size wall is that? Oh, it's because it's a very tall wall. So we're going to come in with these windows here, and we're just going to line this pool with these windows like so, and it makes a really cool effect. And you can even put, oops, we don't want to have it overlap like that. We'll come in with this skinny one here. And then what we can do is it actually makes it a really cool effect because we can put the windows from the inside as well. And then it's cool because then we can actually see the Sims who are swimming kind of like a little fishbowl. Fishbowl, fishbowl. Oh my God, it's so much fun to say that. You should try it now. Fishbowl. Another type of pool that we can create is an infinity pool. And in order to create an infinity pool, you are going to have the city living expansion in your game. And then in order to have access to other objects to kind of help create the illusion, I use an object from the Spa Day stuff pack. There's other objects that you can use for this as well. So the Spa Day stuff pack is not required, but you do have to have this city living expansion in order to create it. So what an infinity pool is it's a pool that is usually put on some sort of elevated terrain, which is like either on the side of a mountain or maybe on a dune overlooking the ocean. And when you look at these pools, it appears as if the pool is continuing on and on forever, becoming either a part of the sky or becoming either a part of the ocean. And in order to create this effect, a lot of times they'll be characterized by being enclosed in glass. So these pools are a little bit tricky because you do have to build your pool before you can build like your deck that your Sims are going to walk on, or your house if you're connecting the infinity pool to the house in any way. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And the first thing that we need to do is to actually put a deck that's going to be the exact size of our pool. So I'm going to grab this square deck and I'm going to pull it out to be the size that I want my pool to be. And we'll just put it at about that size. And now that we've got our deck here, we're going to go ahead and click on it. And we're going to use the arrows in the center to raise the foundation. So as I'm raising this foundation, you can see the green highlighted square, which is telling you how high the foundation is going to be. You want this green square to exactly match the white square at the top. You don't want to put it any higher up, and you don't want it to be any lower either. And I will show you why a little further into the tutorial. So now that we've got our foundation elevated to the right height, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our pool to be the exact size as this deck, like so. Now that we've got our pool built, we need to go ahead and turn on our Show Hidden Objects cheat. If you're not familiar with it, the Show Hidden Objects cheat is going to allow us to have access to things in the game which we're not usually supposed to have access to. So we need to open up the cheat box by pressing and holding Control Shift, the letter C on the keyboard, and the code that we enter in is bb.show hidden objects. And then we hit enter and escape to close the cheat box. And then we can come over here to the foundations. And we now have access to this hidden city living foundation that is actually translucent or clear. And we can go ahead and add that onto our pool. And it appears as if it is enclosed in glass. Now the reason that we had to have our foundation elevated to that exact height is because if we were to elevate it any more than that, we would get this weird effect down here. And then likewise, if we didn't elevate it at that height, if it was too low, then actually our entire pool would look like this, and it would look really, really funny. So we're going to go ahead back like that. So now that we have this pool on here, it does look a little weird because it doesn't appear as if there's anything actually supporting the pool. Like there's no bar on the side, there's no trim that goes around. It just looks a little funny in my opinion. I mean, if you don't think it looks funny, you can leave it like that, but I do think it looks a little funny. So the first thing that we need to do in order to fix this is we need to turn on our Move Objects cheat. So we're going to open up the cheat box and we're going to enter the code bb.moveobjects. And I think mine is already turned on. So I'm not going to hit that again, but you would hit it and then it would turn on. So just going to go ahead and escape out of that. And now I'm going to come over here to my pools and then down here to my water objects. And the object I like to use is this vertical strip light, and you want to use the shortest one. You don't want any of the taller ones because those are too high. But there's other things that you can use instead of this. There's like some just regular poles over in the decorations under statues. Things like that will work as well. All we're going to do is we are going to make it seem like there is something actually supporting the pool. And we're just going to zoom in real close to the corner here. And we're going to go ahead and place this right here at the corner like so. And because it's a light, the game has the next one ready for us to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this on right here at the corner. And I'm actually going to bring it up like this. And yeah, this one's got to move. We've got to move this one so that it matches this one. So it's a complete square. But we don't want to go too far. So right about there, now it looks like there's actually something supporting the pool. And then we would go ahead and let's go ahead and complete this off here on this side and do it on this corner as well. Just like that. And then rotating around to come over like this and closing it in, and there's no weird looking gaps or anything like that. So now that we have our supports on there, if you want to add a little thing along the bottom so it does look like it is completely, closed in more, then I usually like to use these little foot illuminations. And the cool things about using these objects in particular is that they're actually lights. So at nighttime, your pool does light up really nicely. So we're just going to go ahead and continue adding it on like so. There. So now we have a much more complete looking pool, and you can add them along the edges on the side. I'm not going to do that now because this is just a tutorial. So, and then of course, we can add, if we wanted like the top of the pool, the top of the trim to be like maybe white marble, we can go ahead and add a trim like that as well. So now, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave it white like that. So now the reason that you have to build the pool first before you can build the rest of your deck or like a part of your house is because of this. So if I were to go ahead and put a deck right next to the pool here, like so, what's going to happen is, so if let me go ahead and pull my deck out all the way. All right, I'm going to pull it all the way out. So now that I have my deck, it looks totally fine, right? So what if I now want to change the way the foundation looks around the deck? Because nobody really wants like that weird concrete. I mean, I guess you could if you don't mind, but I don't usually leave it like that. I'll usually change it to like this. But the problem is that because it's all like a deck, the entire foundation is being enclosed in that, and now we've lost our glass and pool closed pool. So in order to fix this, in order to make that, not happen, what we have to do is we have to now build our deck or our house around separately from the pool. So I didn't say that right. What I mean is we have to build our foundation or our house separate from our pool and then add it onto it after. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the decks. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to place our deck right next to our pool like so. And then we're going to raise the foundation to be the exact same height as the pool. Now that our foundation has been raised, we can go ahead and drag it on out like this. And then we can go ahead and change the color of our foundation to be a cool brick like so. And once our foundation is complete, we can go ahead and we can move our pool to be, or move our deck to be right next to our pool like so, and we have not lost any of the effect, and it looks like a really cool infinity pool. Voila! So the next type of pool that we can create is a pool that has a rounded edge. So if you are a little bit familiar with the building tools, we know that we can't actually have a round pool. And what I mean by that is we can't, this is as close as we can get to round. And that's not actually round, is it? What I mean is we are going to make a rounded deck, and then we're going to put the pool around that rounded deck. So the first thing that we actually have to do is to add our deck. So we're going to come over here with this square deck, and then we're going to raise the foundation up a little bit. So, and I usually only raise the foundation a little bit when I create this kind of pool. So I'm going to take that deck like that. I'm going to pull it out a little bit. And then I'm going to come over here to my rounds, and I am going to use the smallest rounds that I have available. So I'm going to place this round here, and then I am going to raise the terrain or the foundation up to match the other foundation, stopping where I see that little white square that is hovering over the other foundation. So now that I've got that one, I'm simply going to copy that. I'm going to pull it over here. I'm going to rotate it. And then I'm going to attach it so it's like this. So now that I have that one round, what I'm going to do is I am going to add another deck onto, Now that I have that pulled out, I'm going to add this other deck onto this one right here like this. And then I'm going to pull it out a little bit. And then I can pull this side out to match that. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to attach this rounded deck onto here like so. Then I'm going to pull it out to meet this over here. Now I'm going to do the same. Well, I'm just going to, for the purpose of the tutorial showing you this, I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to have it actually end right there. And then what I would do is I would come over here with my floor patterns, and let's say I want to just use like this one. I'm going to create the floor like that, and then I'm going to pull the floor out to be just like that over here, as this is part of the deck here. And let's go ahead and we'll add one that comes here like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have our pool be the center right there. So I'm going to take my pool tools, and I'm going to start out with my draw square pool tool. And you can't start with this one up here, okay? Or else that's going to raise the foundation of the pool also, and you need to have the foundation be directly into the ground in order to do this. So I'm going to pull this out all the way to right here. Now that I have got that drawn on here, I need to come in with these little triangles. You cannot use this one, the custom pool tool. You cannot use the draw a square tool. You absolutely have to use the little triangle in order for it to work. So I'm going to take my little triangle, I'm going to place it on the ground over here, and then I'm simply going to rotate it so that it'll be the direction I need to evenly fit right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side here. And I'm simply going to rotate it and then pick it up and move it over here. And then I'm free to go ahead with my draw a square tool and finish off my pool like that. Voila, I have a pool that actually does have a rounded edge now. And I could put like a little set of stairs over here. I could put a little set of stairs over here. And it looks all cool and nice and pretty. So yeah, so those are the different types of pools that we can create in The Sims 4. And now we're ready to go ahead and finish off the pool, or at least add the pool on to our house that we've been building together throughout this guide. So here we have our really cool house that we've been building together throughout the course of this guide, and we're going to put a pool right here in the backyard. And I think the kind of pool that I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do one of the pools with the rounded edges back here. So I am first going to go ahead and raise the foundation of the house to do that. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so there we have our added on pool to our lovely house that we have built together. I am not 100% certain that I'm going to keep the floor this color. I just wanted to change it just to kind of make it look a little bit more finished. I'm not exactly sure what color floor I'm going to have, but I will decide that at a later time. So yeah, so that's it for that. I hope you guys learned something from watching this and that you enjoyed the video as well. If you have any questions or comments or tips of your own that you want to put out there, please do feel free to leave them down into the comments below. If you like the video, please give us a nice little thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit that bell icon so you can receive notifications when we have a new video out. Feel free to go check out our website, visit us on Facebook, see some of the other cool stuff we got going on out there. And until next time, guys, happy simming, and I'll catch you all later. Goodbye!